went in order and.
So the tool does that. Yeah, that's what I have done.
All right, and so, show me the no number or restricted. We didn't.
It was not on, it was on the receipt.
Okay.
Here it is.
Okay, so we got the time also. We got the
That
date.
time is on the other one. It just says, no number.
Okay, yeah, like this.
That's fine, okay. That's fine, we did that for the order. So I'll check the others.
Yeah.
And see.
Yeah.
Now, I think it's more complicated to do the, well, they don't X or Y from the full one, I think, so that's.
You ready, X?
The text, can you just tell me what it is? So I'll introduce this one, go back and introduce this one. You have something about the 958?
Yeah, same deal. All of them got.
Well, the other one, the pink phone only XR1 pulled the text message. 956, the pink phone. So that's the only one that's pulled. They're not, it doesn't have like this.
Yeah.
Secure view didn't pull.
But it had the call logs. The call logs would be common.
Okay,
So
so
you
you
can
can
pull the log.
yeah, I want the
So that's all secure
call logs and any text logs that there may be on all three phones in chronological
Oh,
order.
and it's how it is, so it happens to be that way now. I mean, it is how it came out.
Right, and
That's
I
fine.
think, and from what I can see, it's that way on all of them if you go to
Except
secure
for
view.
except for Bright, right. Bright, but Bright carries stuff that the others don't. If you only did secure view, you wouldn't get the rest of the thing.
Yeah, I understand that.
Okay.
But let's
there's one.
introduce the thing
Oh,
that's
great,
not
thank you.
chronological order.
All right. So this one,
All right.
this one.
Call up, Drew.
And then there's that one for 956, because he didn't do it, right? Yes, there is.
Maybe see this.
Now, in the Cellbrite, let's go back a second before we go on to the 958. In the 957 phone, that was the residence phone, that we admitted states 141, there are the varying things, but as you said, it didn't collect them in order.
Correct.
Now, in the secure view that you did for 957, if I may approach the witness, can you tell us whether this particular tool collected that information in chronological order as opposed to how it was found on the phone?
So in the secure view, it appears that yes, the data is produced in chronological order as far as like the call logs and the images also appear to be in chronological order.
So it's just how the tool operates.
Right, the tool puts it that way.
Versus, I think you were talking about the Cellbrite, it does it as it sees it, as it finds it.
Yes,
It doesn't do its own sorting.
right.
So let me mark this as states 201.
And that's secure view for which phone?
957.
Okay.
Not yet.
fine.
May I approach the witness?
You may.
Let me show you what's been marked as States 201 and ask if you recognize this document.
Yes, this is a secure view report that was pulled from a Samsung SCH U740, which I had marked as NM957.
And that's the phone that we did at States 141. That's the Tara Chavez residence phone.
Yes.
Her mobile. And in that one, it pulls it in such that the call logs and things are in chronological order.
Right.
Is that a copy you made, and is that a true and accurate depiction of what came off your analysis?
Yes.
I'd move for admission of States 201.
No objection.
201 will be admitted.
Now let's talk about 958. And let me show you first States 147. And if you could explain what that is.
This is a ZRT report. The ZRT, its actual name is Zippy Reporting Tool, is the program and the cell phone, or not cell phone, the camera that is attached to my examination workstation. So it has a camera attached that takes pictures of the screen of the cell phone, transfers the image into a program on my computer, and then it will produce the report of all of the pictures that have been taken.
All right. And so is that a true and accurate depiction of what you saw from the analysis from your computer, and did you print that yourself?
Yes.
I'd move for admission of States 147.
Yes, sir.
No objection.
147 will be admitted.
Oh,
Yes.
right here. This is where we were.
All right,
Yes.
so this is actually where we left off. Let's go back to, and I'll show Mr. Cerna the Cellbrite report for that same phone, 958. It doesn't have a
Okay, and now we're gonna do the security.
May I approach the witness?
You may.
So let me show you what's been marked as States 199 and ask if you recognize that.
This is a Cellbrite phone report, which is the logical report on SCH U540, which is NM958.
Right, so this would be the Levi Chavez phone.
Yes.
Now, this, as you said, for the Cellbrite phone, for the other phone, this is, it extracts it as it sees it.
Yes.
And so in this as well, the call logs wouldn't be in order, it was how they were on the phone.
Yes.
And is this a true and accurate depiction of what you had, and did you in fact print this?
Yes.
Move for admission of States 199.
No objection.
199 will be admitted.
Let's see. And we admitted 147, yes? Okay. So let's talk about these reports, and I'll hand them to you. You've talked about 147, that you had a program that pulled all of the text messages and printed them. If you could talk about what's in the Cellbrite report versus SecureView, if there's anything different. One has more, one has less. If you could talk about those differences.
The Cellbrite phone report pulled contacts, call logs, images, and videos. And that's all. It did not pull any SMS messages. It says SMS text messages are not supported. Calendar, notes, tasks are not supported. MMS, multimedia messages are not supported. Instant messages are not supported. Ringtones, audio, and databases are not supported.
So in the Cellbrite report, what did it pull?
It pulled contacts, call logs, images, and videos.
And then when we talked about the ZRT report for that phone, that pulled the text messages.
Well, what happened was I ran the Cellbrite phone report against the phone and got the contacts, call logs, images, and videos. I ran a Cellbrite file system report, which only got images and videos, which were already covered in the logical. And then I ran a secure view, which secure view extracted contacts, call history, images, and videos. So the SMS video messages were not extracted by any of these tools. So I checked the phone to see if there were SMS messages, and indeed there were. So I used the ZRT, and I went to the first SMS message and I took a picture of it, and then I moved to the second, took a picture. So the ZRT report are pictures that I physically took through the program,
Okay.
the ZRT program, and then it produced the report of all the images taken.
And so the real difference for having the secure view as an exhibit is what it did is put some things in chronological order, that because Cellbrite just does it as it sees it.
Yes.
Now let's talk about the 956 phone. And let me, I don't know whether it was or not. Now, let's talk about the 956 phone. That's the pink phone, the older phone that was Tara Chavez's before the one at the residence. How did you work on the pink phone?
On the pink phone, I tried a Cellbrite phone report, and it supported the contacts, SMS messages, calendar notes, tasks, call logs, images, and videos.
All right. And what else did you work on?
Well, so I noted when I did the phone report that there is one SMS message.
So it only, for the Cellbrite, it only was able to pull one.
Yes, and it was actually in the draft section. So it was an outgoing draft message. So that was all that it pulled. So I used the secure view and produced a report. And I don't think I have that report.
Let me approach.
Secure view, again, pulled contacts, call history, images and videos, ringtones and music. And that's all. This is actually the first time we've ever seen ringtones and music being pulled. So, which is usually not of interest. Most case agents don't care about the ringtones, you know. So, but you know, the secure view did pull that.
Okay.
And
did you pull any text messages or?
no, it didn't support pulling text messages.
Okay.
So I was going to check to see if items are in sequence or is in chronological order. And it appears like the pictures are in chronological order. So that would be different from the secure view to the other, to a Cellbrite report, in that again, the Cellbrite pulls it as it gets it, and the secure view puts it in chronological order for the user.
And did you do any other tools on the pink phone, the 956?
I tried doing a Cellbrite physical, but it didn't support that kind of phone. It was a Motorola Razr V3C, and which is old technology now. It didn't do a physical, and it didn't do a file system. So the Cellbrite could only do the logical. The secure view did a logical type extraction also. So then I tried XRY.
And let me approach with states 200A and 200B. May I approach the witness? Let me show you what's been marked as 200A and 200B. If you could take a look at those.
This is the XRY report that was produced from that same phone, from NM956, which is the pink phone.
Now, and it's 200A and 200B, is it all one report?
Yes, it's all one report.
And so did you make that?
Yes.
And so when you were copying it, is there anything that you left out of that when you were copying that?
Yes. When the report in itself, it produces items that are called logs and unrecognizable information. And so the first report was actually 700 and I don't remember the exact number, it was like 750 pages. And so the logs and that information are on the CD, but it really isn't pertinent because they're just the logs of what it went through and how it processed. So I excluded those from this printed out report because this is still 350 pages.
And so that didn't have any data?
No.
All right. And is this a true and accurate reflection of your analysis on that phone?
Yes.
Then I move for admission of 200A and B.
No objection.
200A and B will be admitted. Is it 200A and B or 200?
It's 200A and B because it's all the same, but it didn't fit in one clip. Now, you indicated one of the things that was different on the pink phone is it actually picked up ringtones.
Yes.
Was that Secure View?
It was Secure View.
And did you have occasion to see what those were?
Most of the ringtones on there were the standard ringtones that you get when you buy your phone. So just like in Windows, there's some standard sounds that come out, like if you hit your backspace key and you can't back up, it does a ding at you. Those are the standard ringtones that came with the phone. There were 3 ringtones that were created by the phone. And those, you could tell they were different in that the standard ones that came with the phone didn't have any dates on them at all. But the ones that were created on the phone, the file name of the ringtone actually had the date in it, the date and time. And they had a QCP extension, which on every file on a digital media has some type of extension on it to say what kind of file it is. And for example, if you had a Word document, it would be .doc. So this extension on these ringtones was QCP, which cannot be played on a computer. They're considered a true voice type ringtone because they're recorded by the phone. So it's very proprietary to the phone, and the phone will play the ringtone, but the computer won't unless you have some sort of program that will convert from a QCP extension to something that is readable by your computer. And so I actually did that. It hasn't been submitted or anything like that, just to see. And they were just music being recorded as a ringtone, basically. It sounded like it was listening to a radio. And then one was only 1 second long, and there was nothing. And the other one was very, very faint. You couldn't hardly hear, but you could hear music. And then you might have heard some people talking, but I don't have the tools or the expertise to enhance audio. And so it didn't seem to be important.
And then the others were standard ringtones?
They were just standard ringtones.
And that was the only other thing that SecureView pulled out different than the XRY report?
Yes, that's correct.
Now, in the pink phone, there seems to be a lot of things that were pulled out in the pink phone, versus in the 957 phone, when you were doing your analysis, it hit 90, 90, 90 for messages and incoming, outgoing. What does that mean to you?
Usually on some phones, some models, they restricts the amount of call logs or messages or whatever that it will keep. And so different phones behave differently because every phone is different. In that some phones, when you reach that maximum, so on this phone it looks like 90 was the maximum that you could keep in the database. And so some phones will give you a message and say, you're full, delete something before I can save something new. Some phones will do that. Other phones will just like delete the oldest and then store the new. So I'm not quite sure how this phone worked, but it said 90, 90, 90, which appeared that the database was full.
Now in the XRY, it was obviously able to have a lot more data on the 956 phone versus the 957 phone. Are phones different about how much data they allow for storage?
Yes, absolutely. Every phone is different. And phones are made by different manufacturers. They just have different ways of programming the phones. And yes, it's quite different.
Now, in this case, we talked about at the very beginning what a case agent might want you to look at. Did case agents want you to look at to see whether there was any malware or spyware or any kind of that on these phones?
That was mentioned in the request, that they wanted the phones checked to see if there was any spyware on them.
And what did you determine?
I did not see anything that looked like spyware on them. And I even called Cellbrite and I called XRY and talked with their programmers and asked them, on these type of phones, have they typically ever seen spyware and how would I determine it? And they said on those types of phones, they're so old, there wasn't spyware on those types of phones, really. And in their experience, they had never seen spyware on those types of phones.
All right. And then when you got on the XRY report on the pink phone that obviously is huge, did on this phone as well as the other phones, were there videos?
Yes.
Now let's talk about it phone by phone. On the 957 phone that was the residence phone of Levi Chavez.
Excuse me, and you know, it's occurred to me that we keep calling it the residence phone, and the jury might think that that means the landline to the house. And I think what you're referring to is
the mobile phone.
cell phone that was found at the house rather than the one that was taken from the children by the Cordova family.
Right, that's correct, and that's what I've said, and we showed that cell phone. That the 957 phone is the cell phone from the house. The pink phone is the phone that the children had, that Joseph Cordova got, as is the black phone, is from that same time frame. So on the, and maybe approach from him.
Taking our lunch break now. Be back around 1:15, and we'll get started between 1:15 and 1:30.
All right.